Excuse me. Oh my. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's see. We got some people here, so let's switch to... Alright, that's not the one we want. There we go. There we go. Oh my. I have to adjust every time I come on live. I always have to readjust everything. And this little boom thing is always shaking, so hopefully you can see that. So, oh, hi, Maine. How are you this morning? We're doing great. Just got back from getting groceries a little while ago. It was about time. We only go about once every 2 weeks since it's just the two of us. And it's so great to see there's finally toilet paper on the shelves and paper towels, so people aren't quite hoarding things around here the way they were a couple weeks ago. Good Lord. A couple weeks ago when we went to the grocery store, there was not a roll. Well, I should say, in the height of all this virus stuff, there was not a roll of toilet paper to be found anywhere, nor were there paper towels to be found anywhere. But you know what? You make do, and it just is what it is. But it looks like finally in my part of Pennsylvania, things are starting a little bit, yeah, things are starting to return to normal a little bit. Slowly but surely. Well, hi, Stephanie. Thanks for stopping by. You watch my FlossTube videos. Oh, bless your little heart. Oh, but I'm so glad that you found them helpful. I mean, that's why I do this, because I've been, well, you heard me say this on my FlossTube. I've been stitching such a very, very long time. And um, I've learned a lot of stuff along the way. I've tried a lot of stuff along the way, believe me. So I really do love to share all that. So I'm glad you learned some things, or you found it helpful. That makes me feel good. It really makes me feel good. And when I started streaming over here, which I really have not been doing this all that long, I'm really pretty new to it. And every time I come on, I have to reset up everything, and oh, such a fuss. It's fine though. It's all good. It's fine. But I have to reset up everything and get my camera angles right and get my stitching in. But I was hoping to kind of do the same thing over here on Twitch, is, help people out with their stitching, with stuff that you want to know how to do, or you're having trouble with, because that's what I love. I'm really all about my stitching. All about it. I stitch every day. If I didn't, I think I would be lost and go into withdrawal. I really would. Yeah, Maine, we finally got Bounty paper towels also. They're finally showing up. And Charmin toilet paper. Please don't squeeze the Charmin. It's finally coming back on the shelves where we go. But holy smokes, people were crazy. Absolutely crazy in the height of all of this. Pennsylvania is slowly opening back up. Um, we're in what they're calling a yellow phase, so that's like a precautionary phase. A little bit has opened, um, but my hairdresser can't open yet until we're green. And oh, pardon the do, because this is making me crazy. I can't get it cut until we're in the green phase, and I'm not sure if that's going to be another week or so, but geez. Oh, Stephanie, I hear you. It is, and it is great to for these lives because you can talk back and forth, and that's wonderful. You know, I kind of lost my stitching group here too. I mean, I had to drive like maybe 45 minutes to get to it, but you know, that was worth it. I would go once a week, but that shop closed. So we lost that ability to do that. And Barb, who is a is my BFF, her and I have the diagonal stitching group, and that's always fun. But this is more interactive. It's a whole lot more fun than just sitting here stitching by yourself. And Twitch has seemed to be very welcoming. I'm still at the point of gathering, hoping to have people start joining in the channel. So far, it's been just Main Stitcher and myself, and now you, Stephanie, and that's awesome. I'm so happy you dropped by. So it's it's just a wonderful, welcoming place. If it wouldn't be for Jules, who is just a lovely person, and Sharon, Oh to Be Purple, I don't know if I would have continued on here. Um, I think the first time I really didn't have anybody, uh, so I sat here and talked to myself. Actually, no, I lie. The first time I didn't have anybody, I sat here for over an hour and gibbered to myself. And when I ended the stream, I realized it was like, well, where did it go? I couldn't find it. Here in the settings, I never went in and changed the setting so that it would save. So I spent that whole hour talking and it didn't even save onto Twitch. And then I thought, oh, Karen, how dumb are you? How, you're technically challenged. How dumb are you? So I finally figured out that that's what the problem was and went in the settings and fixed that so that every time I'm on, it does save it to Twitch. And if I remember right, and I'm not sure. I think they're only saved for a certain amount of time, and then it kind of is a rotating, like as one comes on, one goes off kind of thing. But I'm really not sure. Like I said, I am still learning all about this. It's, I have it pretty down pat on YouTube. I can do those videos, without much fuss. But on here, it's boy, it's a whole different ball game, a whole new ball game. Um, but that's okay. I'll get it figured out and I'll learn it. And for anybody that was here on my last live, um, I have to apologize because it ended so terribly abruptly. I think I was in the middle of saying something, if I remember right, and I don't remember what I was talking about, but it just died and cut off. And it was like I was talking, and all of a sudden I was gone. Um, I still haven't figured out exactly what happened. Um, I think it was because the battery on my laptop was getting really low. Because for some reason, even though I had it plugged in, okay, here it is because I don't know the name of what it's called. A little doohickey thingamajig that um, you can plug your power into and all your USB connections into and all of that. And then that was plugged into my laptop. But my laptop didn't keep charging. So my battery was getting really low. And I think that's what the problem was. I'm not sure, but I think. Stephanie, thank you. I really love Stitcher's Retreat too. It is just, it's what made me decide to do a heaven and earth design because, I was one of those people that said I would never, ever, ever, ever stitch a heaven and earth design. Never. Well, look at me now. So don't ever say never. Oh, speaking of long dog samplers, first of all, one of these days I am going to start Death by Cross Stitch because I do love that. Um, Long Dog Samplers has a freebie right now. If you go onto her website, um, it's called Pandemic. And she was making, I think I read that she was making it for their 25th anniversary. But given everything that's going on in the world today, she's releasing it now for free up until let me think, up until I think it's the 25th of June. So it's like for 6 days. Let me look. Pandemic. Yeah, I have it downloaded. Um, I can show it to you. Here, let's go in here. There it is. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Oh, 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 oh. There, long dog samplers. Okay, I'm not very good. Pandemic. It's 365 stitches by 429 stitches. It's gorgeous. It's full of stitching just like Death by Cross Stitch. And let me go back. For 7 days, so on June 26th, it will no longer be available for free. There will be a charge for it. So she's releasing it to thank everybody worldwide for the vital part you were all playing in getting us through the COVID-19 outbreak, whether on the front line, behind the scenes, keeping the wheels from falling off, or staying home and halting the spread. Our thanks. So you just tap and you can download it. So it's like I said, it's a freebie. So, oh, yeah, it took me at first, when you go on and it said for more details, when I clicked on that, it wasn't working. But when I actually clicked on the picture of the chart, it took me to this page that I just showed you and to be able to download it. So maybe just try periodically throughout the day. You have till the 26 days yet to get it. So I think this is when it first started, so it's going to get a little bombarded. It is gorgeous, isn't it? They broke the website. Oh no. Maine, you're stitching Vatican Sunset by Head. Oh, by Hade. Oh, that's gorgeous. That's another one I look. Oh God, I can't. I'm not going to live long enough. And Stephanie, you ordered the supersized tree of life. Oh my heavens. I'm just hoping I live long enough to finish this one. Oh my God. But I'm not going to tell you, I have a couple others started. But you know what? I'm seriously considering doing a reevaluation of what I have started. Um, Sharon, hello, hello, good morning, good morning. Oh, thanks for stopping by. Oh, I'm jealous. You got a hair appointment and I don't. I can't. I am so jealous. If I give you mine, will you get them cut along with yours? But I'll be here for a while. I plan on just hanging out. I'm so glad more people are stopping by. Thank you so much. Oh, great. And then your needle unthreads. Oh my gosh. There we go. There we go. I think it's time I start a new thread. What do you think? It's getting a little short here. Ah, and I'm sorry. I didn't get your list, so I didn't get your groceries this morning. I got mine though. Haha. And oh, what did I do here? Oh, see, this is what happens when I talk and when I, okay, when I talk and stitch at the same time, and then I don't mark things off right away. Oh my God, then I get lost. And it's such a short trip for me, getting lost. I tweak this one out yet, then we got to get another thread. And as you can tell, I've changed my way of stitching yet one more time. One of these days I'll find what works. Well, actually, it isn't what works. They all work. It's kind of more or less of what I'm in the mood for. You know, I was doing strictly diagonal, and I'm going to sneeze, I think. Yes, I do this because the crook of my arm is just skin, so I do this. Um, this piece has just so many different styles on it of stitching. And I think I said this before. I Oh yeah, the front looks great. The front looks great. I'm really happy with the front. But I have tried so many different things. Thank you. Um, that I really would like to kind of frame it with the back open, not cover up the back so that you can see the journey of all the different techniques I used. Because when you look at the back, you can pretty much see where I did cross country, where I did columns, where I did diagonal, where I did, I don't remember all the techniques that I used, but I used lots. And it's kind of neat to look at the back and see all that. Um, and I was doing kind of, well, and that's kind of, I was doing like staying within a certain number of columns and color completing until my thread was gone. But then I found out that or I felt like that got a bit too unruly, and it was hard to keep track of where I was. So now I'm taking a section 4 blocks wide and color completing within there and parking in the next set of 4 blocks. So from this one, if the color goes down, I'll park in here. And I hate to flip my work. And I've done pin stitches to end. I've done these away, and right now I'm just doing the away threads because once I get this done, I can clip. I do this little running stitch, so I know these are threads that can be clipped. If they're parked, I just let them dangle, or I do the first half of the X. So call me fickle, I guess. I just do whatever I'm in the mood for on any given day. Oh, no, I didn't want to. Okay, there. So some days I make sense and some days I don't. And then I have these threads up here because these are parked. This one I'm not going to do yet. This one I'm not going to do yet. This is the one I want. So see, I have, oh, and I'm sorry, but I gotta tilt you. Well, hi, Angel. How are you this morning? Thanks for stopping in. Glad you're here. This is just so much fun. And meeting new people, it's wonderful. I know I've seen you, Angel, over on Jules's stream. So thanks for stopping by. Angel, you're working the night shift. Oh, bless your heart. What do you do? What's your profession that you're working night shift? Or that you worked night shift? Or No, I have not, but I would like to do that. To run a stream on Twitch. Oh, an auxiliary police. Good for you. And thank you for doing that. Thank you. I have not figured out how to do on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. I know that when I'm done with this one, I tried the last time to send it to YouTube, and I never saw it show up there. Restream software. I'll have to look into that. I don't know what that is. Right now, since I have a Mac, I use Ecamm, um, because I had tried OBS, and okay, I'll check out Restream. Um, I had tried OBS, and there it kept crashing on me. And I don't know if it's because I have a Mac, and I'm doing from a Mac laptop. So if he's a streamer, ask him for me if you wouldn't mind. Would I be better off getting I like Apple products. Um, but would I be better off getting an iMac instead of using a laptop? What I'm streaming off of now is a MacBook Pro. Um, but I've toyed with maybe I need a little bit more oomph, and would an iMac be better to stream with? See, I'm not good with all that stuff. I mean, my son-in-law is a software engineer. Um, in fact, he's one of the ones that convinced me I needed to do this. Um, and he also said to me, "Oh, thank you, Angel. That would be awesome. I would really appreciate that." Like I said, my son-in-law is a software engineer, so he writes code and does all that stuff. Um, but when I ask him certain things about, say, the hardware. Oh, your husband doesn't like Apple? Oh, yeah. And my son-in-law is all Apple. So I debated, do I need to not get an iMac but get a PC? So, oh, Angel's husband, if you could give me some advice, I would really, really, really appreciate it. That would be just so, so helpful. Because now the nice thing with staying with Apple product is, but I guess you could do this um, with any product, whether you go PC or whether you stay with Apple. I can trade my laptop in for a different. I mean, you don't get the full cost of it back, but you get some money back on it. So I could trade it in and get credit towards an iMac. Um, I don't know how that would work if I get it if I go for a PC as opposed to an Apple product. But I will say that even though, now I didn't try Streamlabs, but I did try OBS. And that one, for some reason, would crash on me. So that's why I went with Ecamm. And it really is, I mean, I haven't had any trouble. It really has been easy to use. Um, but like I said, I don't understand all that techie stuff. Um, I've done pretty good for what I have. Uh, and I can get around with what I have, but I really would appreciate any advice, since your hubby does do streaming. So that would be great. Like I said, I'm open to anything. Yes, I am stitching in my recliner chair, believe it or not. Yes. So it took me a little bit to finagle around to get everything set up. Um, I'm in my recliner chair. I have a table aside of me um, that has my thread carousel on it and my laptop on it. And I don't know if you can see it, but my camera's right here. Yes, something portable would be helpful. Although, if I get a better office chair that would support my back, because let me tell you what, 45 years, 45 years of being a nurse has done my back no good. And to sit in a straight back chair for any length of time and stitch that way just does me in. I would never be able to get more than about a 20-minute stream out of that, because that would be about all my back would take. So I try to make my setup that I can be in my recliner chair. And my other option, I think, would be to find a very comfortable office chair. Oh, look what I did. I missed the hole. Um, so, like I said, I'm open to anything. I can accommodate or try and accommodate whatever would be the best. Because even right now, I have my laptop elevated so air can get underneath it, but I can hear it humming because it's heating up. So whenever I stream, oh, you did work in the hospital, Angel. Yeah. Hard work. A lot of hard work. And seriously, those people don't get paid enough for what they do. They seriously don't. I mean, even I was an assistant director of nursing for about 25 years. I worked my way up. And, if you compare that to other professions, I ran the nursing department and I had people working under me that were getting paid more than me, which was a little insulting, to tell you the truth. But they paid according to longevity, and this person had been there, I say, since the beginning of time. Oh, urology clinic. Oh, bless you. Bless you. I worked in long-term care. Well, let's see. I lie. I did work in long-term care when I retired. Um, I started out my career as a psychiatric nurse. So I worked in a state hospital for the mentally ill for 15 years. Yeah. Um, I left there just because the treatment modalities had changed so much, and nurses were getting hurt. And not only that, I had, at that point, I had my daughter, and it just got to be too much. So I went part-time for a little bit, and then I just said, I can't do this anymore because there were just too many nurses getting hit. They started taking, well, what happened was drugs were becoming more prevalent, as in illegal drugs were becoming more used far more, and a lot of people were coming in because they were psychotic, that was drug induced. And people were getting hurt all over the place. So I finally said, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. And I left. Now, I actually had a needle workshop for about 3 years. And I did fine. I made enough to keep the business going. Um, and it did pretty well. Now, this was back in the mid to late 80s. And then Walmart came to town. Well, here I was, this little shop. I had it in my home because I have a big farmhouse, and I took part of the downstairs and we made it into a shop. But when Walmart came to town and was selling a lot, not everything, because, obviously Walmart had at that time some linen, but not the variety of linens that I had. Um, I really couldn't compete with them because they would offer embroidery floss cheaper than what I could offer it for, and they had Ada cloth cheaper than what I could offer it for, and I'm sorry to say that where I live, and this sounds terrible, but where I live, people want everything for nothing. I did my best business when I had a sale. business otherwise it was okay, but it wasn't the greatest. But people would, and I didn't run sales all that often because you have to stay open. You have to make a profit, and I couldn't keep cutting my profit margin down to next to nothing, and I couldn't keep competing with Walmart because they were certainly able to underprice me. So I ended up closing. I think it was open for about 3 years, but I could never take an income. All the money went back into the shop to increase inventory and get bigger and better things. Um, but it was getting to the point where my daughter was getting older. And of course, she wanted things, and I couldn't take a salary from that. So I ended up closing and going back to work. And then that's when I went into long-term care and spent the rest of my nursing career there. And as I said, worked my way up the ladder, so to speak. Um, and it served me well. It served me well. But while I had my shop, I was very fortunate in one respect. I was a member of TNNA, which is the National Needlework Association, which is still active today. But they, at that time, um, offered classes. Now, TNNA covers any kind of needlework. So not only was it counted work, it also included knitting and all of that. But I took some classes in their counted work, and I had a mentor that I worked with. And one year I went to California for a long weekend. It was like they had a convention there, and then people took all the classes in whatever specialty that. Oh, sorry, I bumped. Whatever specialty they were studying. Um, so I took the counted thread, and I had a mentor that I worked with, and uh, part of that time spent was with her, and she would show me or teach me different ways of doing anything. Now, basically, I am self-taught. Okay, um, but she helped me to learn hard hanger embroidery. She helped me to learn uh, pulled thread and drawn thread. So we worked on that quite a bit. Um, After that weekend, she gave me an assignment, and I had a certain amount of time to complete it, but I had to come up with um, oh, I forget what she called that one. But what I made to do that was, it was black work, and I did a little needle case in black work and metallic thread. and had to submit that to be critiqued. And I also had to make a sampler, and I was given a list of certain stitches that had to be used in that sampler, so that when I went, uh-oh, oh, your phone died. Charge it up there, Angel. um, so the next year when I went to Lansing, Michigan, I had to take that sampler along, and it was critiqued there. And they looked at, it wasn't just that they looked at your design. What they were really looking for, and what she wanted to see, was your technique. And oh, I gotta end this thread. I'm running out. We're playing thread chicken here. Um, yeah, it was all about your technique and your stitching. Were you doing the stitches correctly? And like when you do back stitch, for example, do you know how sometimes, instead of everything looking very straight, and like the next stitch would go down here, and sometimes it would be just a little off kilter to the side of this. Um, they wanted to see that everything went straight and there was no wonkiness, for lack of a better way to put it, to your line. Um, so she taught me how to do that, so that was not just learning techniques, it was how to perfect those techniques, and have it be, in other words, it was pretty much learning how to stitch for competition and do it perfectly. um, so I did learn, that's where I learned quite a bit of what I know and have shared on my YouTube channels. uh, some of the other things, or a lot of the other things I should say, it was stuff I have learned by myself over the years, and things I have figured out how to do. um, I'm not a perfectionist by any means, and when I do heaven and earth, no, I don't have a video about backstitching Maine, but I could certainly make one. Or um, I could do it here on stream. I mean, I won't do it on this piece because there's no backstitching involved in it, but I could set that up to do that on a live stream if you'd prefer that as opposed to a video. Or I can make a video too. It doesn't matter to me. I like doing either one. But yes, I'll do that for you. Um, because really it is a matter of, okay, I'll make one for you. It is a matter of where you come up through the fabric, and then where you go down when you're entering into where your previous stitch was. So yeah. um, the other thing that is done strictly in backstitching is black work. Okay, I'll do a video. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be a long one. Um, Probably maybe only 15 minutes or so. But yeah, I'll make one for you. No problem. We'll put it, I'll put it on the YouTube channel, and that way it will be available for everybody. Um, because it isn't hard. It isn't hard. Um, it's just knowing where to come up and where to go down so that your lines of stitching stay straight. So yeah, I'd be happy to do that for you. Um, Let me think. What is today? Friday. Yeah, probably be next week sometime if that works for you. No, not so amazing, but I do like to teach people how to do things. It's just it's who I am and what I do. I I do. I really just love to share what I know. And like I said, I don't profess to know everything. I am not a professional. I am not an expert by any means, but I do love what I do, and I do a lot of it. As I said, really, I could, if I could find enough things to talk about all the time, I could stream every day because I'm stitching every day, except when I do that and go in the wrong hole. See, I do make mistakes, and I do have to unpick it. I don't know if probably you guys that watch my videos know this. Oh, good morning, Erin. Thanks for joining. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And thank you. I'm working on Stitcher's Retreat. For those that haven't seen it on my YouTube, this is how I thread my needle. Okay. I take a hold of the floss. I wrap it over this finger. I take the eye of the needle and lay it on top. And, well, I hold that. And then I just roll my thread up into it and see how it pops through. And then just grab it. All threaded. Dun, 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 dun. Easy way. Um, this is one of the things that my mentor at the needlework classes that I took showed me. And to be honest with you, the only time I've used a needle threader since then is when I thread a ballpoint needle, because the eye on those stinkers is so small. Sometimes I can get that method to work, and other times I can't get those needles threaded to save my soul. I need a little more light here. There we go. So I have to resort to a threader. And let me just mention this. Oh, I put that stitch in the wrong place. If you need a needle threader for the ballpoint needles, a regular, like the regular, oh, I'm sorry, Maine. Yeah, it's just lay your needle on top and then just roll your finger and push, and it pops up. It does take practice, I will admit that. But once you get it, it gets easier all the time. Anyway, for the ballpoint needles, if you need a needle threader for them, like your Loran needle threaders, for example, they're not going to go through the eye of those ballpoint needles. So the ones I found that work and work the best are, where is mine? Here it is. Let me get it. Are these little guys by Puff and Company. These are micro threaders. See how tiny the hook is? Those fit through the eye of the needle on your ballpoint needles very easily, and you can thread them without a problem. Their regular threaders are too big, but these are their micro threaders. So that's what I found works the best when you're threading the ballpoint needle. I'm working on 25 count, Erin. It's 25 count easy grid, and I believe easy grid is a Lugana fabric. And my needle is a size 26. See, now that's a thing too for you guys to remember, or to take into consideration and think about when you're stitching. When you're stitching, if the tail of your thread, this starts, you know how sometimes it gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and it frays, and you end up, because it's starting to look so yucky, you have to. Aw, Angel, thanks for dropping by. I'm so glad you did. I'm sorry you have to go back to work. But thank you. I really appreciate you being here. Have a great rest of your night. I remembered you're working the night shift. So have a great day or great night, and sleep well when you're done. Um, but if you have trouble with this end of your thread fraying, now see, mine's starting to do it a little bit, but I'm almost at the end of my length of thread. If your thread is doing that, or if your thread tends to split, you're not using a needle, a big enough needle. You know, a lot of people get hooked on size 28 needles, and I was too. I was too until I learned this. Because the end of my thread kept fraying, and I would have to keep cutting that end off because it would get so yucky. You're not using a big enough needle. It's not opening the hole in your fabric enough. So what causes that is when these holes don't open up enough and your thread passing through, it rubs. It rubs your thread, and that's what causes your threads to fray. So you need a bigger needle. Now on this 25 count, I'm using a 26 needle. And I will be perfectly honest, it is a very rare occasion that I use a size 28 needle anymore. Even when I stitched um, Blackbird Designs, that triptych that you put together as one, it's winter, spring, and autumn. I stitched that on 56 count over 2 because I wanted it to fit in a small serving tray. So I stitched it on 56 count, one fabric or one thread of floss, and I used regular floss. I used Gentle Arts sampler threads, and one strand over 2. I used a 26 needle. I did not use a 28 because when I used the 28, it tended to fray. So I used a 26, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. So don't, what did I do there? Don't be afraid. Okay, I'm just looking what I might have messed up here. Don't be afraid to change the size of your needle. Um, Now, obviously, on 56 count, I would not want a 24 needle because that really would have made it too big, the hole too big. However, a 26 was fine. And what happens is if you wash and press, those needles, those holes will shrink back up. Okay. Yeah, but oh man, 56 count was so much fun. I really loved it. I did. I really loved working on it. It was just fun. Um, One day I'll have to do 56 count here on stream and see what you guys think of that because I loved stitching it, and partly because I really loved the design too. So, I mean, I was lucky enough to have found all 3 of those charts because they were hard to get for a long, long time. I believe now they've been reprinted, so um, they are easier to find at this point in time. But yeah, that was a really fun stitch. But if you're having trouble with your threads and you have trouble with it fraying and all of that, change your needle. Don't be afraid to do that. Like I said, I rarely use a 28 needle anymore. Oh, how I keep track of my different threads, Aaron? Okay, I can show you that. Let me mark off what I stitched here. Actually, let me do this one yet. Okay. I'm going to try and show you Pattern Keeper. And if you haven't used it, if you're doing full coverage, Heaven and Earth Designs, and you have not discovered Pattern Keeper, oh my lands, you need to go look at it. You need to try it. Now, it is not available for iOS, Apple products. It is, however, available only on Androids. I purchased a Samsung tablet just to be able to run Pattern Keeper. So let me come under here. How I keep track of my threads is this. Okay. Now, the shaded colored things are places I've already stitched. The yellow is highlight of what color I'm stitching now. All right. And right now I'm actually working over in here. Ooh, and I got a glare. There we go. So that the yellow solid hearts is what I'm stitching now. Now, above here, I was working on an open heart. And Pattern Keeper allows you to put this triangle on your chart as to where you parked that thread. So when I finished up in here, the open hearts, I put my thread in the first place, and you can see that right here. Oops, let me hold it. Got to go this way a little bit. There we go. There we go. It's right there, and I marked it on Pattern Keeper right there. So when I get to this spot, I know that this thread goes to this triangle. Okay, let's look down here. See, I have two things marked. I have the Roman numeral 2 and a solid heart. Now, I was using two different strands of the solid heart because they are so far apart. I didn't want to carry my thread so far. So, okay, let's put that up there. Let me get down here. If we look down here, this thread, once it's stitched over up here, because I have that little running stitch there, I know I can cut that off. Okay? Here is a park thread. And that coincides with, there it is, the triangle that's on the Roman numeral 2. Okay, because see above it, there's 2 stitches stitched. And this one is in the middle of those 2, so that's right here. Okay. Here is another pink triangle on the solid heart. So then if we look here, here it is. See, there's 1 stitch, an empty space, and then the thread for the solid heart. So that's how I know what my color is. So I don't even really have to pay attention to the color numbers. I just have to pay attention to the symbol. And that's what is amazing about Pattern Keeper. Because I know when I get to this thread, it's a solid heart, and a solid heart is $37.99. That's what color this is. I know when I get to this Roman numeral 2, the Roman numeral 2 is 310, black. And this piece has so many, I still have over 17,000 black stitches to do on this piece. Yeah, not my favorite color. But that's how I know. So I hope that makes sense. It's real once you grasp that concept, and you can do the same thing even if you don't have Pattern Keeper and are using a paper chart. Okay, so what you do on a paper chart is I'm always parking my thread in the next occurrence of that color. Okay, so I'm working this block of stitches. It's 10 rows down and 4 blocks across. Okay, so if I'm working on 310, I'm filling in all the 310 in these 4 blocks. And then I park my thread in the next 4 blocks down. Yes, The threads that have this little running stitch, I will clip off once I finish this row of 10. So then these can be clipped because I don't need them anymore until maybe I get way down here further, you know. But I'm only going to carry a thread 10 rows down. Because if you do more than that, you're going to end up with a real mess on the back of your fabric. You know, it gets too thick and too padded, and I'm not satisfied with it then. So these threads here will be clipped. And I'll clip them off up here where they come out of the fabric. So anything that you see has a running stitch, they're a done deal. They're going to go away. Threads that are parked coincide with the triangle on my chart. Okay? You can do this on a paper chart. You don't have to have Pattern Keeper to do this. So when you're marking off your chart on a paper chart, you're highlighting those stitches that you have done. Okay, so now my next row of 10, or however you want to stitch, you could do a column. I could just work down this column or this column. I'm doing it 4 across. As you work down, you park your thread in the next occurrence of that color. So where I have these parked is where it starts again. And then you can put a mark on your paper pattern that is a parked thread. Some people underline the symbol. Some people mark it in a different color. So say you're marking off your pattern in blue marker. Okay, so everything you've stitched is marked in blue. When you park a thread, maybe you're going to mark it in red. Okay, I would mark it in something that's way different from the color you're using to mark off your stitched stitches. All right. Some people, and this is a good idea too, they're working on a paper pattern. And I worked on paper patterns too for many years until I found Pattern Keeper. But you're working on a paper pattern. You're going to stitch the solid hearts. And this is what I did when I many years ago, first did full coverage. I cut my pattern, I photocopied my pattern, and I cut it into sections. And then within that section, I would highlight in a color the symbol that I was working on. So what a lot of people do is they highlight the color they're working on in yellow. As they stitch it, they re-highlight it in blue. So yellow and blue makes green. So they know that once it turns green, those stitches have been stitched. And then when they park their thread, they use yet one more color to designate that I have a thread parked there. So when I get to that, it's this color and it goes with this symbol. Now the whole key to this is when you park your thread, you always, always, always park it in the same corner of the stitch. I make my X's lower left to upper right, and then lower right to upper left. Okay, so I am always parking my thread in the lower left corner. So I know when I get to that, it's in the lower left corner and it goes with that stitch. The stitch that's in the middle underneath, but in the middle of these two that are already stitched. Okay? Make sense? But that's the biggest key. Always, always park in the corner that you are going to use to do your first stitch. You know, if you stitch opposite and your first leg goes lower right to upper left, then you always want to park in the lower right corner, because that's where you start your X. If you work from the bottom up on your chart and your first leg goes upper right to lower left, then you always want to park in the upper right corner. So the biggest thing to remember is wherever you park that thread, do it consistently at the same place. Because if you don't, then you're going to get to that thread and go, oh crap, I don't know which block this goes to, because you've willy-nilly which corner you put it in. So you always, always, always put it in the same corner. But that's the best way I can explain parking. And if that doesn't make sense, please ask me and I will try and explain it better. But we can talk about it so that you can understand it and get it. And that's the nicest thing about this community is I can see your comments and I can talk you through whatever it is that you're having trouble with or don't understand. So Erin, I hope that helped you to be able to do this. Sometimes I get annoyed with parking because I get annoyed with all those threads hanging. And I go, oh, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. And I'll work down in the area until my thread is all, or I've used that whole strand of floss. And that's what I was doing up until yesterday. But what I was finding is, and you can see it up here a little bit, what I was finding was when I go back to fill in, I was getting too confused. So it works better for me to keep it to a smaller area, work within the confines of that, and then park in the next 10 below. That I just find is the easiest for me right now. Now, if you ask me 2 weeks from now, I might be telling you something different. I might, because you know what? And I'm still a big advocate of diagonal stitching. Um, I have not done that lately, but it has many, many pluses to it. And I did those videos because a lot of people were not, they were getting confused. On YouTube, I don't know if any of you have watched Blitz Stitch, Brian. Um, he does diagonal stitching, and I watched his videos, and he stitches his rows vertically, okay? Where I'm a horizontal stitcher. I just could not, I mean, I could grasp his concept. The concept made perfect sense to me, you know, with the parking, and he doesn't do a stitch until the stitches above it have been completed. What did I do with my, oh, there it is. Like he would not have left these here because there's thread in every hole. He only stitches, like he would only stitch this row of stitches here once this row of stitches is completed. Because the theory is, Erin, you are quite welcome. It is my pleasure. Go run to your appointment. Have a great day, and I am so glad that you stopped in, and I'm so glad you found that this was worthwhile for you, and that does my heart so good. So thank you so much, and please come back the next time you're here or the next time I'm on. Come back. I will try and I'll try and come up with some kind of a schedule so that, we can be a little bit more consistent. But you have a great day, and thank you so much for dropping by. It was a pleasure to have you here. So have a great day. Brian would not have left these stitches blank. He would have stitched these before moving down into this. Um, but a lot of people couldn't wrap their head around his method because he was stitching vertically. So he would stitch, instead of going across the rows, he would stitch all of this, and I'll call it column. Then he would stitch this column. Then he would go to the next column and the next column. And I too had a hard time wrapping my head around that. So my friend Barb was using his technique. And of course, being the competitor that I can tend to be, it was, well, Barb, do you think you're going to be able to do something that I can't? Ain't no way that will be happening. Just no way whatsoever. So I sat and I sat and I sat and I tried to figure out how to do what he was doing, but do it horizontally. And that's when I came up with the method that I was using for diagonal stitching. That's when I started making videos, because there were all these people that I was reading on Facebook in the, say, the Heaven and Earth group or the Full Coverage Fanatics or any of those groups that do full coverage. I was reading how people were having, like, I just can't wrap my head around that. I just don't get it. So I thought, okay, I'll make a video of how I do it. Thinking, okay, if 10 people watch that, that's wonderful. I never expected for it to just blossom the way it did. Never in my wildest dreams. Um, that channel is up to almost 8,000 subscribers. It's pretty close to 8,000 people on that channel. Now, I have some hardhanger embroidery lessons on there, and I have a lot of diagonal stitching um, videos on there, and quite a lot of Stitch With Me videos on there. And that has just grown and grown and grown. So what can I say? I never expected that. I never thought in my wildest dreams that it would take off the way it did. But when it did, that's why I started the Diagonal Stitching group on Facebook, because then I felt like people can talk to each other and discuss it with each other, and another place to learn how to do that, how to stitch on the diagonal. And I still do it that way sometimes. And like I said, it just depends on my mood of the hour. You know, sometimes I just don't want to deal with all the hanging threads. Um, sometimes I'm just quite okay with that. You know, for this week, this is the way I'm stitching. Um, will it change for next week? Possibly, maybe. I don't know. Now, I'll tell you the one thing I did try in the very beginning was extreme cross country. And that's why when you look at the picture of mine, you see stitched areas that, oh, just unthread your needle again, why don't you? You'll see stitched spots. That was when I was trying extreme cross country. And I liked that, but I got scared. And I think it is neat how your picture comes together as you add each color. I think it's really cool how it does that. However, my fear was, what if I counted wrong and I put these stitches at the wrong place? And when I go to add another color, I'm not going to find out how many colors will I be adding before I figure out that something's wrong. So I kind of got afraid of it. Yes, Stephanie, extreme cross country is when you have your blank piece of fabric. You're just starting out this new design, whatever it is, whatever chart you've picked. And it's when you pick, okay, some people start with the color that has the most stitches. Some people start with a color in the middle, and some people start with the color with the least stitches. But what it is you work one color at a time, and you stitch that color throughout the whole piece. And once you finish that color, then you move to the next color. Now, my thought when I was going to try it was, I'm going to start with the color that's middle of the road number of stitches, somewhere in the middle, because that would give me hopefully enough stitches stitched to be a decent point of reference to put my next stitches in. And what I like to do is save the color with the most stitches for last, because that then should cover up any of the thread carries. Now again, I wouldn't carry my thread from, say, 50 stitches. Because that's just too far. But I would have carried them maybe 10, 15 stitches. So if I saved my color with the most stitches for last, I could hide those thread carries. But that's what it is. You work one color throughout the whole piece. Um, Oh gosh, I wish I could think of his name. Let me see if I can find him. There's a guy on FlossTube. No, he's on YouTube. And he's in the Heaven and Earth group. Um, is it Mario? Mario? He hasn't done a video for a long, long time. Maybe I took him off my FlossTube list. I I did. Okay, let me check my Facebook. He might be in the Heaven. Members. I think it's Mario. Yes, Mario Acson. If you look for him on YouTube, he comes up. If you just type in Mario, he comes up the first one. And he does extreme cross country. I can't make it bigger. But there. See, he fills in one color at a time, and then your picture just grows from there. And it's just amazing the way, see there, he has more colors in it. I'm always afraid that I'm going to um, miscount. And then what would happen if you miscount? How do you fix that without ripping a ton of stuff? Yeah, yeah, Stephanie, I would be in tears. And you're not gonna, are you even gonna find those mistakes when it's reasonable to stitch them or to fix it? Or are you not gonna find it until you have so much stitched that you have to frog so much and then to figure out what you need to put back in and where it needs to go? And oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, it's neat to watch, Maine. Absolutely. It's fabulous to watch. But it's not for me either. I tried it and I just can't bring myself to do it. I'm afraid I'm gonna miscount. And I'm not a perfectionist, let me tell you that. Um and yes, I call them one stitch wonders. If I'm in, oh my God, I had it on this. I was stitching black, and I think it was over here under the table of where the girls are sitting. And there was all this black, 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 tons and tons of black. And all of a sudden, there was one stitch in 500 green. Aw, Maine, I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you're here. or we're here. I'll catch you next time. You be safe too and stay healthy. Thanks for stopping. Um, there was one stitch of 500. Why? For what purpose was that in the middle of all that black? So guess what color that stitch became? Not 500. I stitched it in black. Um, there are times when there's one stitch and that color isn't used any place even remotely close to it. I'll stitch it in whatever color is in my needle. And I'll do that. It's like, yeah, and I don't feel bad about it. And from what I can see, it has not changed. It has not changed how this sampler looks. It looks just as nice as it did if I would have stitched it. So, and when I'm filling in some of this, do I make mistakes? Sure I do. I'm not perfect. Absolutely, I make mistakes. Um, do I miscount maybe? Yeah. But you know what? I'm not going to get gung-ho crazy about it when this is where oh, what did I do there? Oh, I was in the right hole. It just looked wrong. Um, I'm not going to get gung-ho crazy about it when it's in something that looks like background, you know, or like all this shaded stuff over under the table on this chart. I mean, seriously, look at it. It's not going to make that much. It's not going to make a big difference. So why get all nutsy cuckoo about it? Just not going to happen. The only time I really worry about it is if I was up in the faces of the girls. There, sure, I would be very careful not to be one stitch off, or very careful not to stitch that. I would stitch that one stitch even if it was the only stitch of that color within a reasonable distance, because there it might make a difference. What if it's what if it's her eye? Maybe I'll give her a black eye. I don't know. So yeah, I'm real careful, or I won't take liberties, I should say, when I get to that. But other places, yeah, I will. Oh, hi, Karen. I'm glad you stopped by too. Oh, I'll be here a while yet. I can hang out. No problem. No problem at all. What time of the day? 12 o'clock. Probably, probably at least another half hour yet, because then I'll have to probably put some food in my stomach. Mm, that was good. I needed that. Yeah, because yeah, we were up, went to the grocery store early this morning, and I came home and put my groceries away and set up to stream. Okay, that's that one. And I lie, I ate a muffin. But shortly, I'll probably be getting a little hungry. So I'll probably stay on for about a half hour yet, and then go have some lunch. But I'm so glad you guys are stopping by. This is just really fun. But I feel like I'm doing all the jabbering here. And just jabbering about nothing. Nope, Karen, I switched up my ways again. I'm not stitching diagonally, stitch by stitch, row by row. And you know what? It's a wonderful way to stitch. It has wonderful, wonderful advantages. There are places where I have done that on this piece for quite a long time. But I think I enjoyed it. I like stitching that way. But what was frustrating me is all the needle threading and how slow it is. I mean, some people say they can stitch faster that way. I just found it was slowing me down. Yeah, uh, ex- true. What can I say? But true, yes, there are. In theory, it's fantastic. Your stitches look nice. Um, you're always coming up in clean holes and going down in dirty holes. Um, you don't have ninja stitches. You're getting every stitch as you go. It has a lot of advantages. Um, but it's slow. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I'm doing at this point. I'm working 4 blocks wide by 1 block high, and I'm, yeah, sort of a modified cross country. And I'm color completing within that area, which is why you see these spots here that have empty holes that need to be stitched yet because there's another color that needs to go in there. But I'm trying to keep my areas small, color complete within it, and then park in this next 10 row space. Um, Sometimes I do parking, sometimes I don't. I, you know, some days all those hanging threads get on my nerves. So I'll just color complete and I'll work the color until I run out of thread. But yeah, it was all that needle threading. And I found that if I kept the needles on, like these threads that are parked, if I would have kept the needles on them, they were getting tangled more. And then I was frustrated with that. So I unthread, so I didn't let needles on, because that I found was too annoying. I mean, I could let lots of needles on. Yeah, yeah, keeping needles threaded was, pardon me, PIA, pain in the, hmm and I know I've seen, oh, awfully, I've seen, have you ever watched a lot of the Russian stitchers? I love to watch them stitch on YouTube. I really, really do. And a lot of them keep their needles threaded and they work one row at a time. Oh, for crying out loud. See what happens when I talk and stitch at the same time. They keep their needles threaded. They work one line at a time, either down or up, whichever direction they're going in. Um, and their stitching is absolutely beautiful. And they're so fast at it. Okay, somewhere I did something wrong here. And you know what? We're not worrying about it because it's under the table. But yeah, they're so fast at it, and I love to watch. I love to watch them. Um, I can't understand a word they're saying, and they're jabbering away like there's no tomorrow. I can't understand a word of it, but their stitching is beautiful. And the other thing they do that I find interesting is, you know, the line that they're working on might have 3, 4 colors, and they go across that line doing the first half of every stitch, and then they come back. Okay, so if it's 3 stitches of black, 2 stitches of 939, 3 stitches of something else, they'll do each one, and then they'll come back and cross. So they'll do the 3 stitches, park their, or put their needle away, do the next 3 stitches, put their the first half of it, put their needle away, do the last 2 or 3 stitches, put their needle, then cross those, then come back and cross the black, then come back and cross the blue. Oh, how do you like tent stitching? I've tried it, but what count are you using, Karen? I really, 28. I really want to love it. I really want to love it. I just have a hard time. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't look right for me. And I don't, and I often wonder because I've done full cross for so long. And when I did tent stitch, my tent stitch went in the same direction as the first leg of my cross stitch. So my tent stitches would go lower left to upper right. Okay? And I wonder if that's what it is, if I should do my tent stitches the same direction as my top stitch, which would have been lower right to upper left. Oh, good Lord, a supersized max color with 700,000 stitches. Bless your heart. I could not live long enough to finish something like that. Okay, so your tent goes the way my top stitch go. Okay. Purple, Sharon, you're back. Aw, lucky you got a haircut. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. It's so not fair. They need to open up here so I can get my hair cut. But it sounds like, Karen, your tent stitch goes the way my top stitch goes. Do you find that awkward? Because that's like backwards. Okay, for me, I see that as backwards. Okay, so maybe it's just a matter of getting accustomed to doing it that way. Because part of me so wants to like tent stitching. Because you know what? I'm not getting any younger. Not any younger. And then I look at, okay, I'm already retired. Hopefully, I have a good number of years ahead of me yet. But golly geez, you never know. Okay, so maybe I just need to try it and hang out with it until my brain kicks in. Not only muscle memory, but brain memory. Because this old brain, this old brain, it ain't no young brain anymore, believe me. I mean, I will be I will be 69 in, okay, the 4th of July. I will be 69. So I keep looking at your stitching time is running out. So you need to I want to get as much done as I can in the time I have. Yes, Sharon, my brain is full of knowledge too. And you know what? It is so full that sometimes I have to forget some things in order to make room for something else to come in. Karen, you know what? I said that a little earlier. Absolutely. I never, ever, ever dreamed that that would take off the way it did, that diagonal stitching would go the way it did. When I made those videos and I started that YouTube channel to make those videos on diagonal stitching, I thought I would be lucky, totally fortunate and lucky to have 50 subscribers. I never imagined that I am just shy of 8,000 subscribers on YouTube. Who would have thought? I never dreamed of that. In 100 years, I would have never thought that. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So then that's why I started the group, the Facebook group for diagonal stitching, because I thought, well, there everybody can share their experiences. I'm not the be all end all of how to diagonally stitch. There's many ways to do it. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's however works for you. So it was like, okay, let's start a group. People can share and help each other. And then that took off. I'm dumbfounded. I am just totally dumbfounded. And then when I come on places like this, it's like, I came on Jules' um, Twitch channel, and it was like, oh my God, Needlebug is here, Needlebug is here. And it's like, oh my God. I went on Sammy J's virtual Stitchers and went in that room, and it was like, oh my God, she's here, she's here. And it's like, yeah, how did I get so famous? I am nobody. I am just another stitcher, just like everybody else. I'm nobody. Yeah, I love to share. I love to share what I know with people. That's what I do. It's You got 28 follow or 26 followers already, Karen, with a core group of 8 or 10 who coming back. It is so validating. I'm well, I can see I got 7 of yous on today. And honestly, that's the most I have had. But it's fun. I'm loving it. I am loving it. And yes, being genuine is the thing people know. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to put it out there. What you see, ladies and gentlemen, if there are gentlemen here, what you see is what you get. I You're watching on your TV and your computer. Yeah. But what you see is what you get. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I say it like it is. I am honest and upfront, and I can't hide that from anybody, you know. And then I hear things on YouTube of I ask myself all the time, what is it? What is it that people keep wanting to hear my videos? And I don't think I do anything any different than anybody else. You know what? That's a good idea, Karen, because you know what? I had Twitch up on my TV and I could type in, but oh my goodness, you have to move over to this letter, hit enter, move over to that letter, hit enter. It was a pain in the butt. So that's a good idea to keep your computer open to type in. But I had one lady tell me She listens to my videos to go to sleep. And I'm going, oh, am I that? And at first I thought was, oh, am I that boring that I put you to sleep? But then she says, no, it's your voice is so calming. And I'm going, really? So, you know what, whatever. I thought, as long as you're enjoying them and if there's something that you're learning, that's fine by me. That's fine by me. Yeah, it was a compliment. I did. I took it as a compliment. I thought, oh, wow. Yeah. And I have another friend who she says, when I don't know what else, when I get tired of watching other people's YouTubes on, I just turn yours on and listen to you. And then she'll play through them all again and just listen to mine. And it's like, really? I just it just it just it just blows my mind. I never thought it would take off the way it did, but it's fun. I like it. I enjoy doing it. you know I'm a stitcher at heart. Karen, you're absolutely right. Karen, do you have a channel on here so that I can go find you and put and follow you or subscribe or whatever? Okay, I'm gonna look for it. And it's Karen NH. Is that I guess that would be your channel name, wouldn't it? Duh. Oh, you'll be streaming later today. Awesome sauce. I love it. I will have to be there. You guys are all so great. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh, you don't have a definite schedule. Okay. Okay. I was thinking about that and I just don't know what definite schedule to make. Um, because I know Jules is on, Purple is on. Oh, you did trivia on your channel, Karen. Oh, how great is that? Oh, hear me, I just babble on about stitching. Look, and here, look, I'm not even stitching. I'm reading the comments. You know what? And that's so true. That is so true. I'm sitting here stitching anyway, so why not just turn on the camera and stitch? Yeah, I better brush up on my trivia. Don't ask me too hard of questions. Well, if you do cross stitch or stitching, then I got that one covered pretty much. Any other craft, TV and movies? That's not too bad. Movies, I can't always tell you the name, but if you tell me what they're about, I'm good. But yes, I'm gonna go look for your channel, Karen, so I can get noticed when you're on. It would be such fun. You guys are just so great. Awesome sauce. And I tend to sit here. See, you get more stitching done. You get more stitching done. I sit here and read and then just jabber. What did I do? Oh, I got all of 109 stitches done in the last 2 hours and 15 minutes. This is true. Only trouble is I might have to switch projects because Stitcher's Retreat is just confetti, and then we have confetti, and then we have even more confetti. So I might have to switch my projects when I'm on here. Yeah, that's gonna have. I think that's gonna be the thing to do is something easy. I think what I'll do next time is pull a couple of my projects to show you guys what else I'm working on. Oh, well, that's not bad. Only 3 or 4 colors. Yeah. Oh, okay. I will pull some of my works in progress, some of my whips, and we'll have a look at those next time I come on. Oh, ye old craft room. Talk about confetti, Karen. Holy smokes. Yeah, 10 years. Well, listen, Stitcher's Retreat, this is my 4th year working on this. And I am now 72.87% done, according to Pattern Keeper. I would love to finish it until the end of the year. Maybe I can, and maybe I won't. Worst case scenario, I'd love to have it finished till my birthday next year in 2021. I'm gonna try, Sharon. I'm really gonna try to get it done till the end of the year. But the ultimate goal is I'm okay with it if I have it finished by my 70th birthday which will be next year. Wouldn't that be an awesome birthday present? Yeah, I do that too. I do that too. Sometimes if it's only one color, 1 or 2 stitches of a color, yeah, whatever threads in my needle gets put in there. If it's close enough. If it's not close enough, then I'll finagle it. No, you're not the only one, Karen. We all do it. We all do it. We all do it because sometimes that's just a pain in the posterior to stitch 1 or 2 stitches of that color. It's craziness. It's craziness. So, well, since it's now, I think we're gonna. That's right, Chair. Who's gonna know? You're right. Once the damn thing is on the wall, I love it. Is anyone really going to know? No, they're not. They are not going to know. The only way they're going to know is if it's in a face and she has an eye coming out of the middle of her forehead or something crazy like that. And then you're not going to hang that on the wall anyway. You're going to fix it before you put it up. Yes, galloping horse theory. Yes, 3 foot rule. 3 foot rule. Stand 3 feet back. If you see it, if you can see the mistake, okay, fix it. Cyclops my head. Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely great. Yeah. Could you see, could you see messing up and having her eye in the middle of her head or her nose to the side or something weird? Yeah, I can't tell either. You know what? And okay, I get why they do it. I get the fact that that's what gives things the depth and the looking like a painting picture, but sometimes these colors next to each other are so darn close. I look and go, why am I stitching that? Why? I can't even see that there's a difference. Okay, when you stand back 3 feet, sure, it looks amazing. But when you're up on it, you're going, really? Why? I ask myself that a lot. Why? I don't get it. But, well, guys, yes. And doesn't that drive you crazy, Karen? 30 or 40 colors in a single 10 by 10 block. Does that not make you nuts? It makes me crazy. It makes totally crazy. Yeah. Did you really need that many colors of yellow? I mean, who knew there were even that many colors? Well, still, even if it's max color or not, did they really need 20 shades of a yellow? I mean, come on. Right, you can't tell one from the other. And then you look at it to go to stitch it and think, oh, did I mess that up or not? Oh, does that really belong there or doesn't it? No, it makes you crazy. And you know what? It is such a short trip to begin with. It does. It looks absolutely fantabulous. Absolutely. But when you're stitching it, it's like, oh my God. And I shouldn't even compare because I've never done a max color. I've just done regular. And even the Christmas stockings I did for the grandkids were just, it wasn't max color. Yeah, you do. I question my sanity on many levels all the time. But yeah, it is worth it in the end. It really is. Even though we complain about it the whole time. Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, I think we're going to end this one for today. We're looking at, oh my goodness, I'm only on here almost 2.5 hours. Um, I really got to go get some lunch um, before my stomach soon thinks my throat's been cut. So I think I'm gonna end this for today. Yes, Stephanie, you have a nice rest of your day too. And I will be more faithful about getting on here more often and more regular than I was. I'm so glad you guys stopped by. It has been such a wonderful time. Um, Karen, I'm going to stop by tonight. Absolutely. Hopefully, I'm going to go find your channel and subscribe or follow or whatever it is that you do, um, so that I get noticed when you go on. Yeah, yeah, I would love to do that. Love to do that. You guys are the best. And thanks so, so much for coming and listen to me ramble on about rambling on. So I will see you all next time. Take care. Stay healthy. Be safe. Okay. My turn to ramble on soon. Okay, Sharon, I'll watch for you. Bye-bye. Okay, let's see. Finish and